Okay, we're recording.
Oh, hi. Welcome to our Sunday night Zoom. I was just stopping some music so I could tell my daughter that she has to stop doing dishes. She loves it when I do calls because that means that she can't make noise in the kitchen. And so she gets to stop doing dishes. So we're going to do a little bit of a bait and switch tonight. A lot of people, the event was another coach on our team named Laura, but she has a migraine and isn't feeling well. And so I told her I would pinch hit. So you guys get me tonight. I am Sarah Kroger. I am one of the coaches in one of our challenge groups. So our team, we are blessed with so many people who are ready to take the reins in their health and fitness that we are running, 4 or 5 different challenge groups. And they're all the same. There's not ones for different reasons or anything like that, but it's so that we can serve you, the challenger, and each other better. So we can keep them from, instead of being one group with 200 people in it, we can have smaller groups so that we can all build that community, because that really is that bridge between your goals and your results. So I know some of you, thank you for being on tonight. Thank you for watching the recording. And if I don't know you, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing introductions because I want to get to some stuff. But I am a mom of 6. My kids are 12 and a half down to 1 tomorrow. He's going to be 1 tomorrow. I can't believe it. I know we always say that time just flies, but seriously, I can't believe how much has happened in the last year and what our family has gone through. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit, not necessarily about that, but about some of what I have learned and what serves me in this season. If you give me just a second, I'm going to shoo my kids out of this room because my husband is not back up from the barn yet. We also have a small farm, so he's giving some medication to our goats, of all things, and he's just not back up yet. So hold on. Hey, you guys, please go in the living room. Okay. Oh, my great goodness. I need you to stop making noise over there, though. Okay, so tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about the topic that was on the invitation was about positivity and how to get there. And bear with me, I'm going to weave that in, but I want to share with you some of my journey and my story in the midst of that. And so as a mom, and like I said, my baby is going to be 1 tomorrow. So a year ago, I was on my health and fitness journey, just like I am now. It just took a little bit of a different shape. And I will admit to you, when I found out I was pregnant with number 6, I was excited because, babies are like flowers and there can never be too many. But I was really committed to my weight loss goals and my health and fitness journey. And I was in the middle of a program. I had just started 80-Day Obsession, and I found out I was pregnant. And I had a moment where I thought that was going to be a giant pause button in my journey. And I was going to have to give up my progress for the sake of this pregnancy for a year to a year and a half. And then I could try to pick up and try not to lose too much ground over the course of that. And I don't want to talk too much about that, but the focus here was on mindset. And because God is good and timing is perfect, when I was pregnant is right when To Be Mindset launched. And it really was a game changer for me, even just in the title of it. And we've been telling you, and if your coach hasn't told you, then I'm going to tell you now, that what you do for personal development, what you listen to and what you read and what you take in for your mind is, in my opinion, even more important than what you take in calorically and what you put out energy-wise through your workout. And so today I was listening to, and I'm hoping that Karen's going to hop on because I'm going to put her on the spot because she listened to this too. I listened to a podcast today by John C. Maxwell. And if you've never listened to or read anything of his, I don't want you to get off the call or stop listening to the recording, but maybe as soon as you're done, look something up. And honestly, I don't even care what it is. I don't care what of his you read. I don't care what you listen to. It's all that good. But he is, he's a pastor, so he's a very good speaker and he's a great man of faith. But he's also a leadership expert. He's studied leadership. And even if you're sitting there listening going, well, I'm not a leader. First, I would take issue with that, because all of us who are trying to better ourselves then become examples for the next person. And you are leading that next person who's seeing you on your journey. They are following you, whether you're trying to lead or not. And so that's why it always drives me crazy when professional athletes are like, well, I didn't want to be a leader. I'm like, well, too bad. You are. You don't have that choice. As a parent, as a spouse, as anyone who's working on bettering themselves, your only choice is if you're a good leader or a lousy leader. That's it. You are leading. Someone is watching you and following you and taking in your example. And so the thing that I listened to today, I'll have to go back and look at, and you can ask your coach what it was, because I shared it in our coaches group. And so if you want to get the exact link for it, they can send it to you, or I can send it to you. But he was talking about intentionality. And he was talking about there are many 21 laws of leadership, according to what he says. There's 21 laws of leadership. And the law of intentionality isn't necessarily, sorry, Ben was trying to tell me the law of intentionality on Apple Podcasts. Thank you. He was pulling it up. The law of intentionality isn't necessarily more important, but he called it foundational. And I'm not going to retell the whole podcast, but I'm just going to tell you a couple things that popped out and how it was relevant in this health and fitness journey, and how it's relevant to this concept of positivity. Okay. He talked about how you can never grow unintentionally. You have to have intention about it, and you have to do it on purpose. It's never going to happen accidentally. And that's true in your health and fitness journey too. Unless you accidentally get a terrible stomach bug, you're not going to just randomly drop weight, right? And even that, it's not a pleasant way to do it or a lasting way to do it. Certainly not a healthy way to do it. But it's not something that's going to happen accidentally. It has to be done on purpose, with purpose. You have to do it intentionally, and you have to do it in a focused and organized way in order to have results. And you have to decide. You have to decide what you're going to focus on and how you're going to go about it. And like I said a few minutes ago, what you take in your mind and how you frame your mindset is every bit as important as all of the rest of the pieces of that puzzle. All right, who needs to mute? Somebody needs to mute. Okay, thank you. So you can't just do it intentionally. And he also said you can't lead if you have nothing to offer. And I kind of looked at that and I was like, you know what? That's a really good way of talking about that whole oxygen mask concept. We've heard it over and over and over again. You get on an airplane and they say, if you're traveling with a small child or someone in need of assistance, you secure your own oxygen mask first and then you secure theirs. Same thing, you can't pour from an empty cup. There's many metaphors and cute little sayings about it. But the way that he said it today, it just struck a different chord with me. You can't, and not just lead, you can't serve those around you if you have nothing to offer. You can't parent your children. You can't be a quality spouse. You can't be a good teacher in a classroom. You can't be a good employee. You can't if you don't have anything to offer. You can't teach your children if you don't have anything to give them. You have to fill yourself so that you have something to offer the people around you. And that really stuck with me because I think that this concept of self-care, it's a good thing, but it's a little bit run amok because I would argue that bubble baths are really nice and pedicures are great. But when I'm talking about self-care, I'm talking about something that is going to fill you and fuel you and make it lasting. So that commercial out there where you're just not quite yourself and here you need a Snickers and that solves all your problems, it tastes good. It might give you a shot of energy. It might give you a boost of calories or whatever, but it's not something that's lasting fuel, right? So your bubble bath and your pedicure, I'm not dogging them. I'm not saying don't do it, but it's not the thing that's going to be this driving force in how you're going to be able to serve people. Okay, so I told you I have 6 kids and a small farm. Sometimes I just need to get away and have a little bit of silence so that I can go back in and take a deep breath and serve my people. And so, you know, going and getting your hair done, taking a, you know, pedicure, taking a bubble bath, whatever, those things are good, but they're not enough to really be lasting nourishment for you on your journey. You have to have something like, you're smarter than that. You have to have something more complicated to chew on a little bit. You have to have something that keeps you thinking, right? So if you are someone who struggles with the negative soundtrack in your head, that negative self-talk, the down on yourself when things go wrong, the glass is half empty, even if you want to be glasses half full, you notice all the things that are wrong. And you can test this by saying, when you walk into a room after you've been gone getting that pedicure and your husband has been home taking care of everything, what do you notice first? Do you notice that the house is quiet and the kids are in bed? Or do you notice that the dishes are still on the table? Do you notice that everybody made it to the living room to watch a movie? Or do you notice that all the laundry's on the floor? And sometimes that's a choice. You have to decide what to focus on. And I don't want to throw anybody's husband under the bus. It's just a pretty common thing that I hear. And it's something that I've struggled with, where I've said to my husband, like, look, it's not worth it for me to go out because of everything I have to deal with when I get home, right? But I have to choose what I focus on, and I have to work to shift that mindset so that I can not ignore the things that need to be worked on, and not ever say to my husband, like, hey, it'd be really nice if you could make the kids clear the table when I'm not home. Like, they need to do that and you need to make them, because they don't by themselves, even though it's on the lovely color-coded chart that's hanging on the door, they still don't do it. You have to make them do it. I can still say that. There's still room for improvement, but how I handle that initial entry, how I handle the struggles that come at my day, really says a lot about what's going on in my mind, okay? And what comes out of my mouth is directly related to what goes into my head. I saw something, I think it was on Facebook the other day, that said for every negative thought that comes out, you need to put in 3 positive ones. And for those of you who know me, like, I am not a blow sunshine kind of person. I mean legitimate, affirmative, true, quality, positive things that are going on, not just, gee, it's a great day when everything's going crazy. Like, that's not what I mean. I mean real, honest, looking at your life and adding the focus on positivity, right? I struggle on days that are rainy. Those are really hard days for me. When it's cloudy and a crummy day, so basically all of February in Ohio, I really struggle. I do so much better when the sun is shining than I do when, and I don't care if it's hot or cold, it doesn't really matter. But when the sun is shining versus a day that's like cloudy and gray, I really struggle. I tend to like spiral on those days. And some of it is obviously the weather, but I posted something once on Facebook. I was trying to be encouraging to anyone else who might struggle on those kinds of days. And I don't remember what I said, but I just said something about struggling on these days and how I handled it. And I'll never forget that somebody commented and they're like, really? Because those days are the days that I'm grateful that the flowers got watered. Those are the days that I'm grateful that those seeds that I'm trying to plant got some nourishment. And I was like, oh, how about that? Here I am moping and just trying to make it through the day. A rainy day, for crying out loud. I still have a house over my head. All my children are still alive and well. Everything is still happening the same way it did the day before when it was sun shining. And I just am mopey because it's cloudy, right? Instead of recognizing nothing changed, just the focus, just looking at and saying, like, that rain, those clouds, those are the days of rest and recuperation that we need. It's no different than a recovery day. I don't know where y'all are on your program, but tomorrow is an active recovery day for me. And I am like, and I was just thinking today, like, I'm kind of tired. I really could use a day you know? And I even considered saying, look, I've done 14 days in a row. Today was day 14 for me of Morning Meltdown 100. I've done them all. I haven't doubled up. I've done one every day. And I'm tired and I'm sore. I'm doing okay, but I had that thought of like, gosh, I'm struggling. And I looked at my calendar and I was like, huh, look at that. It's a stretching day. Somebody smarter than me knew that I was going to feel kind of worn out after 14 days of this. And they put those recovery days in where they put them on purpose. And so it's just a matter sometimes of shifting that focus. But I want to give you a little bit of advice on how you look at where you are right now in light of this concept of positivity, in light of this concept of mindset and personal development. If you are not listening to something, reading something, watching something positive that enriches your life every single day, in my mind, you're leaving the gates wide open to, you know, the robbers. Today's readings, I know we all go to different churches, but I'm Catholic. And so there's a cycle of readings that you go through every 3 years. And so today's readings were about not knowing the time when the master was going to come back. And there's a line in there that said, you know, if the master knew when the robber was coming, he would have locked the door. He wouldn't have left the door open. You don't know, so you always have to be vigilant. You always have to be prepared. And I was like, you know, that's so true for us. If you are not reading or listening to or watching something positive and enriching every single day, you are leaving the door open to the robbers. You are not guarding against, because, oh my gosh, there's so much negativity out there. Just like you're not going to grow unintentionally, you are not going to unintentionally be bombarded with positivity. You're really not. We are blessed in this community because we are surrounded by people who are intentionally positive and intentionally solution-oriented and intentionally forward-moving. But this is not the norm. I am extremely blessed to be home with my children. We homeschool. We have positive friends and family that we have chosen to surround ourselves with. And I have this amazing team. But I still see my husband come home like haggard some days because of the things that he has to deal with, because the rest of the world doesn't live in this kind of a community, right? And so here you get to choose who you're around, and you get to be surrounded by people who are working as hard as they can to lift you up. And I feel like in the rest of the world, you are around people who unfortunately are trying to drag you down. And a lot of times it's because they're hurting and they don't understand how to break their cycle. And either they're intentionally and resentful of people who look like they're breaking that cycle, or they just don't know any better. That concept of misery loves company. People just pull you back down because they don't want you to leave the circle of suck, you know? And it doesn't mean that people are bad necessarily. It's just the cycle that happens. Right? Crabs in a bucket, right? So the crabs, they will pull you back down into the bucket and not let you escape when you're trying to. So I wanted to give you a little bit of fortification. So if you're not, like I said, if you're not listening to something, you need to, because that's like locking the doors and keeping the robbers out, because you don't know when you're going to get hit with something negative. And it could be something legitimate. I mean, my mom called me the other day because my uncle likely has prostate cancer, and she wants me to pray for him and to let me know what's going on in the family. And so that was something out of the ordinary that I couldn't prepare for, right? So those kinds of things. But then also knowing that, you know, you got to get up and go to work, or you're going to have to deal with people who are not necessarily super positive, or you've got kids that are in a difficult stage, and you know that something's coming, and you definitely have to fortify against that. But I want to caution you about the words that you choose when you're describing your situation or when you're thinking about your situation. So here, hey, you two, be quiet. So in our family this week, we were originally scheduled to be gone on vacation this week. We as a family, for the last better part of a decade, actually this year would have been our 10th time going. Last year would have been our 10th time going, but I was literally having a baby the time we were supposed to go, so we didn't go. We go to a Catholic family camp place in Northern Ohio every year, and we have almost the entirety of my children's lives. So the first year we went, my oldest daughter was 2, and my second daughter was a baby, and we've gone every year since then. Last year, like I said, I was literally having a baby while we were supposed to be at camp, and people were calling us like, where are you guys? And we're like, literally having a baby. Sorry, we're not there. But we were supposed to go. We were supposed to leave yesterday, and when I just said it, I wasn't going to say it that way because I caught myself earlier. So anyway, this was the week we were going to be gone, and people are having big feelings about the fact that we're not there. There was a lot that's gone on in our lives this year, and that's not what this call is about, so I'm not going to go into all of it. But we had a last-minute, unexpected cancellation of this trip. Lots of reasons, not just one. Stuff that we prayed really hard for the discernment about, and also to change the course of. And regardless of, whatever else, we're not there right now. All our friends are, not all our friends, because you guys are here with me right now, but a lot of the people that we've gone with are all there. They all go the same week. And there's a lot of big feelings in my house about the fact that we're not there. And I caught myself this morning. I was getting ready to say to a friend of mine after Mass, could you pray for us this week? Because this is the week we were supposed to be at this camp. And I was like, I need to really watch the way that I say that. Because my inclination was to say, we were supposed to be. And I feel like that is a dangerous playing with God's will. It was the week we were originally intending to go. That's true. It was the week that all the people we usually go with are there. That's true. It's the week that historically we have gone. That's true. Because there's 5 weeks of camp and we usually go the 5th week. But I caught myself thinking, this was the week we were supposed to be there. We were supposed to be camping this week. I was supposed to be, thinking back about my health and fitness goals. I was supposed to be under a certain weight in July when I went to our big team conference. But I got sick, and not the stomach bug, lose all my weight kind of sick. I got sick in May and June. I was sick for 2 months, and it altered the course of my journey. And so I'm tempted to say, well, I was supposed to, whatever. And I was convicted this morning that is a real slap in the face. I don't believe that God orchestrates my steps, but I do believe that everything that happens is part of, and my purpose in life can be worked through that. So in Esther 4:14, it says, perhaps you were born for a time such as this. And that me saying I was supposed to be somewhere else in another situation at another point in my journey, something other than where I am right now, is missing the beauty of this moment. It doesn't mean that if I had been at camp this week, amazing things wouldn't be happening. Or if I hadn't gotten sick and I had hit those weight loss goals, that something amazing wouldn't happen. But I can't dismiss the beauty and the potential of what's right now because I was supposed to be somewhere else, and shifting that focus to where I was supposed to be, or where I thought I was supposed to be, where my will would have taken us, right? And I want to be really careful not to be flippant about things that are very serious. There are people on this call who have lost babies recently. There are people who have lost family members recently. And I never want to be cavalier about saying, don't say you were supposed to be whatever because that's flying. No, what I'm saying is focus on where you are right now and the potential for your growth, that intentional growth for where you are right now. So my husband and I were talking this morning about road construction, of all things, and how awful it is. And he was telling me this story about how, so we live in Ohio, right? We used to live in Cincinnati, and there's 3 main highways in Cincinnati. One of them's a loop that goes around the city, and then 2 of them they kind of go out in a V, 71 and 75, and then 275 goes around the city. And we lived in a house in northern Cincinnati for about 10 years. And half the time we were in that house, of those 2 highways that run north-south, one of them was under construction about half the time, and the other one was under construction the other half of the time, right? And we were like, it's mind-numbing. It's mind-numbing how long it takes construction to work, how long it takes to get finished, how long it feels like you're under construction. And he was sharing, now we live about an hour south of Cleveland, so in the northern part of Ohio, and he works about an hour away from our house, but it takes him over an hour to get to and from work because of traffic. I, on the other hand, basically live in Amish country, and a traffic jam is like harvest season when the big tractors are out, or when they have the big draft horses with the buggies. Like, there's just not a lot of people in my town, so traffic is laughable compared to what most people deal with. But anyway, he drives into legitimate rush hour traffic, and there is a stretch of highway that has been under construction for the entire 3 years that he has worked in his office where he is now. And we were just talking about how ridiculous it is that 9 times out of 10 these barrels are up and no one is even working on that stretch of highway, or they have this, section that's been under construction for literally years. And then he was sharing that in Japan and some other places, what they do is they have fewer projects at a time with more people focused on them. So it would be like gathering all of the construction crews and having them work, not in the exact same place, because you can't do that, but like the same stretch all at once, and it gets finished very quickly. It's very efficient. It's very focused. It has a lot of attention and intention. It has a lot of attention and intention on it. And we were talking about that in our journey. When you have struggles, when you have something that you're going through, the more you can stop and identify it and identify the parameters of it and put intention and attention on it for a period of time, you can be that much more effective at handling it. And I don't even care if it's just a move that you hate in your workout. And Shaun T is actually really good about this. And he calls you, I don't know how he knows. I'm convinced he can just read my mind. Because he'll say, don't say you hate this. Say, I love this, Shaun T. Like he talks about just changing the way that you do that. And I find that, like, I get ready to say, oh, I hate this move. And then out loud, I choose to say, this is my favorite move. I love this move. And my kids are like, you do not. And I'm like, okay, but who does it help for me to complain about it? Who does it help? I really, really love lunges, especially when I'm holding weights in my hand and moving out to the side. Those are just fantastic, as I say with gritted teeth, right? Who does it help for me to bitch and moan about it? No one. I'm spending this time, I might as well get the most out of it. Which beast in my head am I feeding? Have you ever heard that parable about, it's like a grandfather tells a little boy that everybody has 2 hungry dogs, wolves, I think it's wolves is the story, inside of them. And the one that lives is the one you feed. I'm doing the workout. And I will tell you, I have said that, like, your muscles don't care if your heart's not in it. And to a point that's true, but I'm kind of going to go against my own self on that, because if you are excited about it, if you are focused on it versus complaining about it and hating every second of it, You're going to work harder. You're going to push harder. You're going to take fewer breaks. If you're doing the workout, you might as well get as much out of it as you can. If you've made the investment in the nutrition program, you might as well get as much out of it as you can. I spent too many years on this journey half-assing what I was doing. And you know what I didn't get? Amazing results. I got results. Things happened. But I've had better results in 9 months than I had in 4 years. Now, some of it is cumulative. Don't get me wrong. I have a litany of health issues that if you want to hear them about them, send me a message afterwards and I'll tell them all to you. But I have this litany of chronic health issues that really did take some time to dig through, and I'm still digging through it. I'm still working out. And you peel back one layer and you think you've solved it and you've uncovered a whole new thing that you got to deal with now. And I know other people on the call tonight are in the same boat. There is a cumulative effect. It is kind of like riding a bike up a steep hill. You got to work really hard at the beginning. And then as you go, you're still riding that bike up the hill. You're just stronger now and the wheels are moving. So you don't have a ton of momentum because you are still going uphill, right? And Maxwell talks about everything good is uphill. You will coast to nothing amazing in life. In fact, if you get a chance to coast, honestly now, I almost don't like it because that means the next up is going to be that much harder because I'm not working as hard because I took off. I took a break, right? So nothing good. You coast to nothing amazing. Everything good is uphill. So everything that you're working on is hardest at the beginning because you got to get the bike going. And you got to put it in a lower gear or a higher gear. I don't know, whichever one it is. It's easier on a hill. Anybody else cyclist? You got to put it in whatever gear is easier on a hill. And you got to give it some oomph. But as you go, you get stronger. Same thing with this positivity, right? Thanks, Beth. Same thing with this positivity. At first, you feel like an idiot. I'm not going to lie. I fought. Kelly's my coach. For those of you who know her, she's my coach. And God bless her, she worked off time in purgatory with me at the beginning because she's like, Sarah, you reading personal development? I'm like, nah. You doing affirmations? Nah. You got any goals? You know, like nothing. Years of her telling me to do these things. Years. I love it when my kids try to be stubborn with me and I just laugh at them. I'm like, you got nothing on me, kid. Nothing. You don't know who you're dealing with here. And out stubborn the best of you. And I kind of am proud of that. I probably shouldn't be. But I didn't do the affirmations because they felt silly. It felt ridiculous to say things about me that weren't true and admit, like, I didn't believe were true or could be true. When I started this, I was doing it because I didn't know what else to do. This health and fitness thing, I didn't know what else to do. Nothing else was working. I was still grasping at straws. And this is what I landed on. This was the flavor of the month. Thank God for this, literally, because it's unlike anything I've ever been part of. But at the beginning, it was just the flavor of the month. It was just the next thing I was going to try and fail at. I didn't really believe it was going to make a change. And that's probably why it took so long for it to make a change, because I had to get my belief on board. I had to get that mindset on board. I had to start feeding my head something positive instead of the same negative thing over and over and over again. Because your mind looks for an answer for whatever question you ask it. And so if you ask, why is this going to work this time? How is this going to be any different? What was it like the last time you tried something, Sarah? How'd that go? Your brain fills that. You answer that question, you look for answers. And I know a lot of you have heard this before, but it's the same reason that when we bought a silver Honda Odyssey, our very first minivan with buttons for the opening and closing the doors. I drive a Suburban now because I have more kids and they're bigger and I love my Suburban, but I was literally bummed and considered keeping my minivan because of those buttons. I loved being able to open and close the door, have all the power in the front seat. Are you kidding me? Like, that was fabulous. So then we'd get in all at the store and all my kids would buckle in. I'd look around and there's 4 doors of the car open. I'm like, what the heck, you guys? Because nobody had closed a door in years because I could do it with a button. Anyway, where was I going with that? When we bought a silver Honda Odyssey, it came on like a Friday or a Saturday. And then Sunday when we went to church, there were literally like 35 Honda Odysseys in the church parking lot. They were there the week before too. Everybody didn't buy a Honda Odyssey the same day that we did. But because that was what I was looking for, I started to see it, right? You see someone who has or does or whatever, the same thing that you do because that's what you're focused on. It's literally neuroscience. There's a big, long, reticular activating system in your head. And you just have to supply your brain with the question. You just have to supply your brain with the question. Why is it so easy for me? And we all joke about this as the coaches because we've all heard similar trainings on this recently, but like, why is it so easy for me to do workouts 14 days in a row? Why is that so easy? Newsflash, it's not. It's not any easier now than it was before. They're hard workouts. There's 100 of them. They're hard. But I have chosen to change the way that I look at my struggles. I've chosen to not let people around me talk about what they should have done or how they're behind. You are not behind in your workouts. You did not start late. You do not need to catch up. You are on your journey. You stay out of my journey. This is my journey. You stay out of it. You are on your journey. I am on my journey. I did day 14 today. I don't know what you did. I hope it was amazing, and I hope you gave it your all. And I hope that you go to bed tonight with the intention of putting attention on whatever your goals are tomorrow. You guys, there is so much positive stuff to listen to out there. You can look up a YouTube video from Eric Thomas. Again, I don't care which one. You can look up a YouTube video from TD Jakes. I don't care which one. Listen to Maxwell. I don't care which one. Look at the podcast app. Listen, I don't care which one because they're all good. Some of them will serve you in different seasons better, but it's just like anything else. You go and you look for it and you're like, man, that was the perfect thing for me to have listened to today. Maybe it was divinely popped up in the top of your podcast app, or maybe these are things that are common struggles and we can always benefit from hearing about it again. Because these people are good at what they do. They're smart people who know what we struggle with. But I got to tell you, there are in the world of podcasts, there are things out there that are humorous, that are funny, that are light. And I'm not here to say that they're bad, but I'm going to say resources are precious. And somebody said something to me once, and I kind of laughed internally at it because at the time, I didn't have a whole lot of belief or a whole lot of money. And so she made a comment like, oh, you can always get more money, but you can't always get more time. And I'm like, says you. But I am learning that that's true, at least the potential for it. You cannot get back time that you have spent. You cannot get it back. And so if you're going to listen to something and you've only got 10 minutes, listen to something that's going to serve you. Listen to something that's going to make you think. Listen to something that you're going to, an hour down the road, still be chewing on. Listen to something that's going to, so in the same way that weight, you know how when you lift weights, your body keeps working even when your workout is over? Your body keeps burning calories. The muscle recovery that you have keeps burning calories even though you're not actively lifting weights anymore. That's what your personal development needs to be too. That's what your personal development needs to be. It needs to be something that's still working on you even once it's over. I am snapping at you because you're being loud. I want you to think about what you put in your head just as much as what you put in your mouth, because I can tell you, you can talk about caloric deficits, and you can talk about the nutrient dense vegetables, and you can talk about, why you shouldn't eat enriched flour, or why you shouldn't eat GMO beet sugar. Like, we can talk about that. There's science there, but it will always be a diet from which you are waiting to escape until you have shifted your mindset. We can talk about the progression of weightlifting and stretching and cardio, and how much cardio women should do so that they're not over cardioing, because it actually reduces your ambient movement for the rest of your day and makes you more stagnant if you over cardio as women. We can talk about that. We can talk about exercise science, but it will always be a punishment of your body, or something that you're only doing to get to the point that you love yourself, or enjoy your body, or like the way it looks, or like the way it feels. It will always only be that until you shift your mindset. It will always only be that. And those things aren't bad. It's good to learn. It's good to learn why the food you eat, and why the muscles you use, and why the movement you do does what it does. That's good. I love learning that stuff. I think it's neat. And I love uncovering those kinds of things and figuring out why my body handles things the way that it does. But it's always only that. It's always, I exercised because I was bad last night and I ate something. Or I'm going to be good tomorrow because it's my son's birthday so that I can have a piece of cake. I'm be good all day so that I can. That's crap. That is not the world I live in anymore. You know why I'm going to have cake? Because my son is a year old. And we're celebrating. And we're going to have cake. And it's going to be awesome. Right? I'm going to do my workout tomorrow, and I'm going to do my workout the day after. Not to work off the cake, but it's because it's what I do. It's because I'm a person of integrity. It's because I'm a person of commitment. I'm a person of virtue, and I value those things. And I do them now, every day. Not as a punishment. Because, and this is another thing that I didn't make up, you cannot hate the vehicle you're in to get you to your destination where you love yourself all of a sudden. You can't hate yourself to a point of loving yourself. That's not how this works. It's not possible. If all you're doing is punishing yourself all the way through, you're going to feel punished at the end, and you're going to rebel against it, and you're going to shut it all down. And one day it's just not going to feel worth it anymore. And all the weight is going to come back, and all the progress, and that hill you've been trying to bike up, you're going to slide with epic road rash all the way back to the bottom. And then you're going to feel awful and not even be willing to pick your bike up and try going back up the hill again. What you put in your ears, where you put your focus, how you shift your intention and your attention is even more important than all of the rest of it. And yeah, we're health and fitness coaches. And yeah, the product here is workouts and supplements and nutrition and those things because they're crucial. But the reason that this is different than anything else I've ever done before is because of this focus, this community that is focused on growth, this community that is focused on healing, this community that is focused on not just weight loss, but optimal nutrition and why that's important. Sorry, I have a couple of notes and I just want to make sure I said everything that I wanted to say. So I want you to think about the way that you talk about your season. at the way that you talk. So if I was going to give you homework, I want you to think about the way that you talk about your season and the words that you use to describe your journey. And I want you to take things like should and just and supposed to out. Take them out. Kelly's talked before about, you're shoulding all over yourself, right? I should have this. I should have that. I'm just this. I say that all the time. Do you guys say that? I just fill in the blank, right? We talk about it in weight loss. Oh, I just lost 12 pounds. 12 pounds? Are you kidding me? Whatever. Take those kinds of things out and pay attention. Make it like the silver Honda Odyssey, friends. Look for those times. Look for the places where your negativity is popping up. Look for the places where you can cast a different light on a situation. Not blow sunshine, not pretend there's no problems. Don't pretend there's no problems. You'll never get any better if you just pretend everything's perfect the way that it is. That's frankly how we all got here, really. But that's a different talk. Don't pretend there's no problems. But look for how you're addressing those problems. Look for how you are talking about your season of life. Because remember, you were created for a time such as this. You were loved into existence in this time and place for your own sake. With purpose, for purpose, on purpose. I think that's going to be my tagline. All of those things. It's not an accident. It is not a cosmic accident. It was intentional. And you were loved into existence by a creator who knew your tendencies. You weren't necessarily created with faults, but who knew your tendencies, who knew your children and their tendencies, who knew what your reactions to certain things would probably be like. And still put in this time and place. Not 100 years ago, not in a different part of the world, not with a different family, not with a different journey, not with a different metabolism. It's not accidental. And you have to look at your struggles in light of that. And so I guess that's your homework, is to look at your internal dialogue and think about what your reaction is to a move you don't like in a workout. Instead of focusing on all the things that you can't have or feel like you can't have with your nutrition in order to hit your goals, think about all the things that you can have. That's frankly the first thing I tell people when they have this litany of stuff they're not supposed to have. Well, let's make a list of stuff you can have. Let's make a list and put it on the fridge of the stuff that you can have that you enjoy. If you don't like it, don't eat it. Just make a list of what you can have, what you do enjoy. But not just that, but what you're going to gain. What will your life be like when you get to this point that you're shooting for? And so I don't want to go off too much into a different topic because that dovetails right into a whole nother thing and we'll be here for another hour. But I just wanted you guys to think about that and to make sure that you're feeding your brain just as high quality as you're feeding your body. Okay. That's all I've got for you guys tonight. Do you have anything, Kelly, that you need to? Oh, I have one thing I wanted to mention. It's a little bit of a commercial. Don't forget that the recovery supplement, Recover, is on sale this month. If you've never tried it, get some. I'm actually out right now because my kids are allowed to drink it if they legitimately do a workout with me, not the toddler, but like my bigger kids who really do it, they're allowed to drink it because it benefits them too. So we run out sometimes. So I am taking advantage of the fact that it's on sale this month. So definitely do that. All right. Whew. If you want to listen to that Maxwell podcast, you can message me or you can message your coach, because I posted it in our team page. So all of the coaches would have a reference for it. So, all right, we're going to pray, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Lord, you are so good. You are so good, and you have loved us perfectly into existence. You are unable to fail at your promises. You are incapable of failing in your promises to us. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that consistency. Thank you for that integrity. Thank you for that gift, that grace to be that lighthouse in the storm, that beacon in all of our struggles to call us back to a point of safety, an unfailing, unwavering, unending point of truth. Thank you for governing our lives with that light. Tap us in the direction we need to go. Shine an extra bright light on the place where we need to put our attention. Give us that one more little nudge, maybe a stronger one for me, those of us who are a little more stubborn. Give us that nudge in the direction that we need to go, and shine a light a little brighter on that next step so that we can clearly walk in your path, in your purpose for our lives. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for this time and this opportunity to share. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you guys later.